Maurice wanted you to have this. Terry, can you make sure that goes to Mother Jackson? And Maurice made sure that we brought back two. So we'll make sure that this one gets to whoever wants that. Who was that? Sister Bear. Minnie Bear. Amen. So we'll make sure. How many of you can say that you really love her today? Come on, let's give God an hand. With bowed down heads and with humble hearts. Father, with hearts broken, with tears flowing, memories reimagined. Father, speak to us today in such a way, oh God, that we will leave this place with compassion in our hearts, conviction in our minds, but peace in our souls. For today's message will be a message that's hard for all of us. But your word is like a two-edged sword. It cuts and it heals at the very same time. And so, oh God, while we know that you are Alpha and Omega,
Yes.
We come into this place with an understanding that you are God alone. You are in complete control. And while we get hurt physically, spiritually, mentally, psychologically, emotionally, we're on a roller coaster today, oh God. But even in the midst of these times, you are still the captain. And so guide us over now, great Jehovah, through this pilgrim barren land. Give us peace, oh God, that surpasses all understanding. Because you are the God who still wipes every tear away. In the time of trouble, you have presented yourself time and time again. So, oh God, it's in this season that we say, not our will, but thy will shall be done. And oh God, as you continue to use us to get your glory, be with us like never before. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank God. Come on, let's give God a hand. Family, I promise you not to be before you long, but as I said before, this is Mother Ruth McMillan. She had two favorite passages of Scripture. Matthew, the 7th chapter, verses 13 through 14, which we'll discuss today. But her other favorite was Psalms 1. Blessed is the man who walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the midst of sinners, nor seat in the congregation of the righteous. And I can't remember because I'm all over the place. All right. But me and her will recite that scripture all the time. All the time. Let us stand to our feet. But his delight is in the law of the Lord. And in his law does he meditate both day and night. And he shall be like a tree that's planted by the rivers of water, that bring forth his fruit in his season. And his leaf also shall not wither, for whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. But the ungodly are not so, but are like a chaff which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor the sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, and the way of the ungodly, beloved, shall perish. But on today, turn with me to the gospel recorded by Matthew. The gospel recorded by Matthew. I know words. You've heard this 1,000 times. When you find the 7th chapter, please signify by saying amen. Amen. And beginning at the verse 13, beloved, here's where you find these words. Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. And many there will be which go in thereat, because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way, which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. Beloved, I want to ask you this question on today. Which way are you going? Come on, let's give God a hand clap for this. My prayer is that because of the news that I've had to share, you won't leave me in the pulpit by myself, but that you'll pray with me and for me. I asked my wife, I said, I wonder how many times do the people just ask, Pastor, how are you doing? I have a few members that I can count on all the time, and they'll just randomly send me a text and say, Pastor, how are you doing today? I think what a lot of us don't understand is that when the shepherd has to say farewell to the sheep, there's a little bit of us that goes into the ground with him. See, me and Mother McMillan, me and Ruth McMillan, me and Emma, we've been friends for the past 15 years. Since Pastor Simmons walked through the doors of Mount Pleasant. And I've had to bury so many of our members that I think my count is somewhere up to about 127. And so every time I close the coffin, a little bit of me goes into the ground with them. And so family, you can spare a devotional hour whenever the Lord just lays it on your heart. Just send me a message and ask the question, Pastor, how are you doing today? Beloved, we grew up in a time where it was easy for us to catch a ride with people. And y'all know how we would be at events and people were getting ready to leave. And oftentimes everybody wasn't driving. And so you'd find somebody who was going in the same direction that you was going. And you'd hope, Terry, that you can get a ride. And we ask that question, which way are you going? And we would hope that, Karen, that someone would say in the crowd that, oh, I'm going your way. I don't mind taking you. I'll make sure that you get to your destination. And so we are even like that in the church. We find ourselves, when it relates to scriptures of salvation, we have to ask that question. Reverend, I know you in church, but which way are you going? Because in this particular text, it invites us to a place where Jesus is reminding us that even as believers, we all have a responsibility to know where we're going. What you do with Jesus today will determine what he's going to do with you on tomorrow. Oh, I wish y'all could be up here by myself. And so, beloved, it behooves us not to make sure that we have a relationship with the Father so that when the time comes and we leave from earth to eternity, we know where we're going. Because whether you believe in heaven or hell or not, there is a place called heaven and there is a place called hell. And beloved, it's up to you to decide which one of those places will be your home. All right. For many of us, and just listen if you don't mind, I'll teach a little bit. For many of us in chapter 7 of the book of Matthew, it can be a very difficult chapter to understand if you're not looking at it through the correct lens. All right. I often state that you should never open the Bible and just read one passage of scripture. Okay. You should always read what the writer said before that text. All right. And you should always read what he said after the text. Because if you just open up the Bible, Tiny, you just go to one particular page and go to one particular scripture. If you don't know what was said before and you don't know what was said after, you might not walk away with an understanding of the text. All right. Y'all talk back to me. In this particular chapter, Jesus begins by saying in verse number 1 of chapter 7, judge not, that ye be not judged. For with what judgment you judge, you will be judged with that same manner or measure that you use. It will be measured back unto you. So basically what Jesus, he started off chapter 7 by saying, hey, you better watch yourself. You better stop judging people because the same judgment that you're casting onto somebody else is going to be the same judgment that's passed onto you. And so, family, he opens it up by letting us know before we even get to the gates that I need you to be careful in your conversation. All right. You know why? Because too many times, beloved, we're so busy trying to be judgmental of others, but yet we have not brought resolution to our own situation. I don't have time to talk about you or anybody else because I got enough on Dwayne's plate that I need to be worried about Dwayne. So Dwayne can get Dwayne together, and Dwayne can get Lo together, and Lo can get Pastor Simmons together because there's a whole bunch of us up in here. And so before we start looking at folks with that judgmental lens, but make sure you got yourself together. I would like to share an observation with you that I've made over the years, and it's not that profound. I've come to find out that whatever street you own is going to take you to wherever that street is going. All right. Well, whatever street you're on is going to take you to wherever that street is going. See, you're not going to get on 116th and be on 131st at the same time. You can't be on Kinsman and Union at the same time. Wherever Kinsman is taking you, that's where you're going to wind up. Wherever Union is taking you, that's where you're going to wind up. So family, it may be profound to some who don't know anything about navigating, but please let me help you by saying this. Whatever street you're on, you're going to wind up wherever that street is going. Somebody say amen. In eternity will be determined by the road you take here on earth. It is impossible to take the wrong road and go to heaven, just like it's impossible to take the right road and go to hell. What you do while in this world will determine forever where you spend your forever. This life has been described as nothing more than a brief pause between two very long eternities. Family, when you look at someone's obituary, it'll tell you when they were born, and then it'll share with you when they went on to be with the Lord. But I'll come by and tell you those dates aren't really important. What's important is the dads that's in between when they were born and when they died. I don't want you to talk about my birthday, and I don't want you to talk about my expiration date. But what I want you to talk about what happened in between the days. I want to live in such a way that when you remember my name, you remember not just when I was born, and not just when I died, but what I did in between. Oh, I wish I had a church in my prison this morning, family. Don't get caught up in when you were born or when you died, but live so that when folk remember you, they'll remember the day. This life is just a brief time, a brief pause. This is just one moment in time. This time that we spend on this side of heaven is just a little while. And guess what? In this little while, it ain't going to be easy. I wish I could find folk that was looking forward to heaven. See, this is a message that's going to help get you together, but only if you got to make your mind to go to heaven will this make some sense to you. See, man born of a woman is a few days, but full of trouble. So your time span going to be small, but it's going to be full. Every day you get up, trouble has the ability and the opportunity of presenting itself. And family is going on about what, 10:36, 10:37. And if you trouble free right now, to God be the glory. Because I dare you to wait till right around noon. Preach to myself. Born of a woman is of few days, but full of trouble. Family, there's times that my foot hasn't even hit the floor, and I open up my phone and get all these messages, and I ain't even got out of bed yet, and this person had died, and this person had died, and this person's sick, and that person's sick, and I say, Lord, my foot haven't even hit the ground, and God is saying, that's okay, you can make sure the enemy knows he's in trouble by being in bed. Just because you got bad news, that don't mean that the bad news dictates your day, because the fact that you got up is more important than what messages in the phone. See, the fact that I got up today, I can deal with all the troubles that's going on in my phone. But I learned that I don't look at the phone for trouble's sake. I look at my Jesus for my health's sake. Oh, the fact that I got breath in my body means that I got another day, Maurice, in order to get this thing right. Tender mercies are renewed every morning. He gives me a chance to get it right. I may have messed up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but Friday, doggone, I'm going to get it right. Ask the neighbor, well, which way are you going? Don't I hope you all know that when we do leave this place, we will continue to live. But the question is, where will you spend eternity? There is a heaven and there is a hell.
That's right.
We often hear about heaven in church because we want to believe that God is so merciful that no matter how you live your life, everybody's going to go to heaven. And beloved, I come by here to tell you that that's simply just not the case. Many good people will not make it into heaven because they have not accepted Jesus as their personal Savior. Just like there's going to be a lot of people in heaven who some of us feel that they shouldn't be in heaven because they didn't live so holy on earth. Well, family, I'm here to tell you today that you have no right, you have no heaven nor no hell to put nobody in. So while we're busy trying to determine somebody's destination, we need to be making sure we're doing enough just so we can see Jesus for ourselves. Oh, I know they messed up, but you messed up even more. They lied, but you cheat. They steal, but you owe. They do this and you do that. It don't matter. Jesus said, watch who you judge. Isn't it just like us to look at our neighbors and say, you know what, they ain't got a chance? Come on. And then on Judgment Day, you find yourself with the wrong address. Everybody's not going to heaven. For the Bible declares that hell hath enlarged herself in order to make room. So y'all, I'm going to heaven. If I ain't doing nothing else, I'm going to heaven. I wouldn't be sitting here preaching if I wasn't going to heaven. I wouldn't be sitting here restraining myself from acting like a fool every day if I wasn't going to heaven. I wouldn't be praying, preaching, singing the gospel of Jesus Christ if I had no intentions on going to heaven. See, every day I wake up, I got a heavenly mindset. That, Father, whatever you want me to do, that's what I'm going to do. Because I want to go to the place where Job said that the wicked will cease from troubling and the weary shall be erased. Where are you going? Wait on the answer this time. Hallelujah. So watch this. There are two. Somebody say two. There are two possible directions in life. Jesus tells his audience that there are only two possible roads which one can walk. Many in our day want to tell us there's other or many paths to travel through life in order to get to Jesus. But the path is only two. All right. For Jesus declared that in order for you to come to the Father, you must come by me. When Mother Miller would tell us about the straight gate, she was teaching us about the straight gate because she wanted us to understand that in this world, you're going to have some options. That's what I love about serving my Savior. It's just not a one-way trip. He'll give you options if you want them. Tell your neighbor, here's the first option. Well, the first option is what we call the broad way. The word broad means spacious. Jesus says that there is a section of the road in which a person can walk. What does he mean by this? The broad road. The idea that Jesus is trying to convey is that the Broadway is wide open. And anything goes on the Broadway. You go on the Broadway, Mother Long, you can do whatever you want to do. You can say whatever you want to say when you go to Broadway. You can be king of the road when you're traveling the Broadway. You can own and be your own person. You can be your own boss. You can do whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do it, however you want to do it, when you're on the Broadway. People love the Broadway.
Well,
I'll find somebody else preaching tomorrow. People love the Broadway because there's some good music on the Broadway. Every now and then, when I'm riding past Broadway, I hear, with these last $2. That's the music that they listen to on the Broadway. They sing stuff like, I got 5 on me. When they on the Broadway, when they on the Broadway, they singing, it's getting hot in here. Take off all. Y'all wait. Y'all sitting here acting like you ain't never been on Broadway. What was it? Lean over to your neighbor and say, neighbor, this is my song on Broadway. And go ahead and tell them what the song is. Go ahead, go ahead. Listen, my thing is this. If you're going to be on Broadway, at least have fun while you're on Broadway. Y'all sitting here so hypocritical. You don't want nobody to see the fact that you've been on Broadway, you're still on Broadway, you roll through Broadway. Don't you know the only way you can get off of Broadway is to accept the fact and acknowledge the fact that you've been on Broadway. Reason others can't change is because we won't accept the fact that this is who we are today.
tell the truth.
I know I'm a sinner, but I'm a sinner saved by grace. And I'll be sitting here being hypocritical if I didn't tell you every now and then I turn over a little bit on you. Man, this is good stuff going on. See, here's what I don't like about church folk. Y'all sit here every Sunday acting like you don't sin, acting like you perfect, Holy Ghost feel fire got time. You can be all that stuff all you wanted to be, but guess what? God knows the truth. And whoever you doing what you doing, they know the truth. So now you only they know the truth and God knows the truth, you know the truth. And somebody in your row who's seen you doing your truth, they know your truth. So, but see, here's what, here, beloved, here. Brother, there's a sinister side to Broad Street because Broad Street has an expiration date on it. You can't stay on Broad Street, but for so long before Broad Street have you looking older than what you really is. See, Broad Street will have you writing checks that your body can't cash. But Broad Street will have you having conversations that you know you ought not be having. And family, here's the thing. This is all of us. All of us at one point in our life have been on Broad Street. Look at what Ephesians 2:1-3 says. Once you were dead because of your disobedience and your many sins, you used to live in sin just like the rest of the world, obeying the devil, the commander of the powers in the unseen world. He is the spirit at work in the hearts of those who refuse to obey God. All of us used to live that way, following the passionate desires and the inclinations of our sinful nature. By our very own nature, we were subject to God's anger just like everybody else. It wasn't until we got off the Broadway that we started understanding there's another way for his children. Ask your neighbor, which way are you going? Now, before you sign up for Broadway, there is another way. For Galatians 6 and 7 says, be ye not deceived, for God is not mocked. Whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. God offers a better alternative. Someone says better. God has a plan whereby those who follow him enjoy the fullest richness of God's blessings. Things like peace. Family, and y'all give me about 10 more minutes and I promise I'll let y'all go home. There's things that I desire at 51 that I may have not desired at 21. And now that I'm older now, and I'm wiser, and I'm a little more mature, there are some things that I need from God today that I didn't so much need from him carrying on yesterday. One of those things is peace. But John 14:27 says, peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth I give unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. Family, I don't know about you, but I need peace in my life every single day. I can't be around unpeaceful folk, and that may not even be a word, but it is today. I can't be around folk that's always causing trouble and confusion. And every time they open their mouth, hate lifts up off their mouths and falls into the floor. They always talking about other people and downing everyone else. I can't be around those folk. I need some folk that's going to speak some peace into my situation. I need to be around some folk that say, guess what? It may look bad right now, but it's going to get better over the course of time. I need somebody to say, greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world. I need somebody to speak some peace. And now that I'm older, confusing, and I can't roll in the same area. Tell your neighbor, I need my peace. Next thing I need is I need my joy.
Oh yeah.
I can't. Today I'm having a very transparent moment here. I don't like being around people who don't have joy.
Yeah.
How have you woke up? It's 8:30 and you already mad? You just woke up at 8:15 and it's 8:30 a.m. What's happened in them 15 minutes that got you so mad that you just mad at the world? You know what? It wasn't the fact you woke up mad, you went to bed mad. And when you go to bed mad, that's why you continue to wake up mad. And I can't be around those kind of folk. You know why? Because the minute that I stop giving God praise for my life, I'm literally slapping God in his spiritual face by telling him I'm ungrateful for all the good things you've done for me. People who don't experience the joy of Christ, there's something wrong with you. Joy is eternal. Happiness is temporary.
All right.
Joy is eternal. Happiness is temporal. A lot of us in relationships with people who make us happy, but they can't give us no joy.
You're right. Come on.
Oh, be honest with yourself, family. A lot of us have relationships that are so temporary that we get a piece of joy, and it's usually only the kids down, the kids up here. So we ain't gonna talk about that, but it's usually a joy that only lasts for a few minutes, and once that little happiness is after the happiness is over with. You mean to tell me that's it? That's all the happiness I'm gonna get? I'm up here with it, y'all. I'm up here with it. Y'all catch me up here, and you nod, and you want to say it's their fault that's all the happiness you got, but they mad at you because that's all the happiness you can give. God offers, watch this, a better alternative. You too young for that. God has a plan by where those who follow him to the fullest, they receive God's blessing, and it's such a rich joy. 1 Peter 8 says, 1:8 says, whom having not seen, ye love in him, who though now you see him not, yet believing ye rejoice with him with unspeakable joy that's full of glory. See, God just doesn't provide you with happiness, God provides you with joy. So there's the broad way, and then there's the narrow way. While the broad way is wide open and it is easy, the other way a person can live is called narrow. Somebody say narrow. Narrow. This word refers to a great press. It has the idea of being constricted. It can also carry the idea of being distressful and difficult. Distressful and difficult. You see, the narrow way is exactly the opposite of broad way. When you travel the narrow way, there's some constrictions and there's some restrictions that's put on your life that you just can't do what you want to do.
That's true. That's true.
Some people have the mistaken idea that they can live as though they want to, Kevin, and that they can be on Broadway one day and on Straight Street the other day, and Broad Street one day and Straight Street the other day. But God is saying that you need to make up your mind. If you want to be on Broadway, stay on Broadway. But if you're going to get on Straight Street, then I need you to stay on Straight Street, because God, just like all of us, get tired of folk that change up so much that you don't know what kind of bag they're going to come out of. I get tired of folk that one day they act this way, and then the next day they act that way. And the Bible declares that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, and this is why I can't be around unstable people, because I just don't know what you're going to do. When you walk the narrow way, I'm going to my seat, it honors God. Yes, sir. 1 Peter 1:16. Because it is written, be ye holy, I am holy. It brings blessings and power into your life. 2 Chronicles 7:14 says, if my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their land. Which way, Mount Pleasant, are you going?
Come on, Pastor.
There's two directions, and then there's two destinations. All roads lead to somewhere. There was a saying they had about 2,000 years ago that said all roads lead to Rome. There's a place called hell. Somebody say hell. Hell. Jesus tells us that Broad Street leads us to destruction. When we think of something being destroyed, we usually think of it being annihilated and forever done away with. But this word refers to lost. When Jesus in the 7th chapter was talking about those things that are going to be done away with, he was talking about a total loss. He was talking about if you travel Broadway, you're going to wind up in hell. The reason why preachers don't preach about hell anymore is because people sit on the edge of their seat and they're questioning and asking themselves, have I done enough to keep myself out of hell? See, we don't live in a church anymore that preaches about fire and brimstone because we want to tell everybody that if you just name it and claim it, then you will receive it. But here's what I need you to know, beloved, that you can name it and claim it all you want to, but if you're not in the will of God, then it's not going to come to pass. We want to be told all the things that we want to hear. The Bible says in the last days we'll desire what's called itching ear syndrome.
Right.
Tell me, preacher, what I want to hear. And if you look at the mega ministries that are full of folk running over, they've never mentioned the word hell since the doors have been opened. Because they are a group of folk who are made to feel good about everything they do. That's not what happens when you follow Jesus. There's a level of accountability if you want to be one of the children of the King. There's a place called hell and has an unquenchable fire. There's memory and remorse. There's an unsatisfied thirst. There's frustration and anger, unspeakable pain and misery, eternal separation, and undiluted wrath. And some of us are asking, Pastor, I'm there right now. Shh. Let the rocks cry out. My question to you is, which way are you going? So there's a place called hell, but he didn't leave us there, Kevin. There's also a place called heaven. Y'all wake up for about 4 more minutes. Jesus told us about this place, and he said, just as Broad Road has its destination, the narrow way has its destination too. This road doesn't end in hell, but it ends in heaven. And above all, Jesus promised those of us who follow this way of life can also find ourselves in heaven. All right. Hell is a place of horror and separation, where heaven is a place of peace and contentment. There's no tears or pain or sorrow when we get to heaven. There's no sin when we get to heaven. There's no night when we get to heaven. There's no curses when we get to heaven. There's no needs of anything, because God and Jesus will be there with us when we get to heaven. There's a glorious city that we're going to that's called heaven. The Word of God says, having the glory of God, and her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal, and had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels were at the gates, and the names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. On the east there was 3 gates. On the north there was 3 gates. On the south there was 3 gates. And on the west there was 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations. And in them was the name of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. And he talked with me and had a golden reed to measure the city, and the gates thereof, and the wall thereof. And in the city lieth 4 square, and the length is as large as the breadth. And he measured the city with the reed that measured 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of the city of this place called heaven, they're all equal. That means heaven goes this way and heaven goes this way. I wish I had somebody that wants to go to heaven. And he measured the wall therein 144 cubits, according to the measure of a man that is of the angel. And the building of the wall of the jasper was in the city, and it was pure and moved just like clear glass. And the foundation of the wall of the city was garnished with manna of precious stones. The first foundation was jasper. The second foundation was sapphire. The third foundation was chalcedony. The fourth foundation was emerald. The fifth foundation was sardius. The sixth foundation was sardis. The seventh foundation was chrysolite. The eighth foundation was beryl. The ninth foundation was topaz. The 10th foundation was chrysoprasus. The 11th foundation was jacinth. And the 12th foundation was an amethyst. And the 12 gates there was 12 pearls. And every gate had its one pearl. And the streets of the city was all pure gold. In the city there was a stream that went from the beginning of heaven unto the end. And the Bible declares that there was a tree that was in heaven that was good for the healing. So if you were sick in the city, which was never going to happen, all you would do was just reach up and put your hand down in the river. I can imagine right now that as they're walking the streets of gold, that Ruth McMillan is somewhere in the city. Ruth Nathan is somewhere in the city. Now all of a sudden, Emma Hunt is in the city. One of these days, we'll all show me Jesus. I want to say thank you for all you've done for me. Thank you for making ways out of no ways. Thank you for keeping me. When we get to the city, the city, there'll be many hellos, but there'll be no goodbyes. When we get to the city, there'll be an entrance that says this way in, but none will say this way out. When we get to the city, you'll have a one-way ticket, because return travel won't be necessary. When we get to the city, we'll have a call to worship, but there'll be no benediction. When we get to the city, how many of you know where you're going? Yes, sir. When she moved on last night, and she went and met Ivory in heaven, she finally said, I'm free. Praise the Lord, I'm free. I'm no longer bound. No more chains holding me. My soul lifted. and is such a blessing. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. I'm free. Said I'm free. The doors of the church are open. Praise the Lord.